But anyways, skills by archetype. So we did look at these last week. Um, so with these, like I said, some of these don't. We'll quickly go through these. Um, so I guess Missy, if you want to do Bard, and then I'll do Cleric, but yeah, if you want to go and do Bard.
All right, Bard's skills. Bards have engaging combat abilities, not just buffs. Bards will have a wide range of abilities to choose from, such as wordsmithing, acting, and musical aspects. Bards may be able to play musical instruments, such as flutes and bagpipes. Bards will offer proximity-based or proc-based healing to a much lesser degree than clerics. Bards will not be the downtime class. This is the role of social spaces within nodes. Bards will have utility outside of combat like all other classes. Restoring rested XP will not be a Bard utility. In other games, Bards tend to be a relatively passive kind of way of playing, and that's really not the direction that we want to go with. We want every class to be fun to play. We want every class to be viable. We want you to feel like you are doing something, that your moment-to-moment gameplay is fun, so a lot of that kind of stuff is going to be based on combos, on reactive interactions between your party members and the mob that you're fighting, or the player character that you're fighting. There's going to be a lot of movement from the front lines to the back lines to kind of help out and make sure that everybody is supported in the way that they're doing it, and that you are also being active in what you're doing. You're not just sitting in the back passively playing a lute and not having any fun.
Why
Well, that
not?
kind of sounds like fun if you're playing a lute in the background. Do do do. Yes, you guys go and fight. Do 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 do.
Hey, it happens in Final Fantasy. You're just playing the lute in the
Yeah,
background.
yeah.
But yeah,
Bards
Denny.
can choose.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh no. Ashes, aka MMO killer. I hope so. I hope it brings a whole new genre of MMOs, Denny.
So, well, yeah, I mean, what you just said. I think what it needs to be is you need MMOs out there. Like I said, the only thing that's going to kill WoW is Blizzard, right? They're doing a decent job of it. But uh, but I think what Ashes and Intrepid and Steven and his team, what they need to bring is standards, higher standards. And I think if they can do that, players have already definitely noticed their standards as high as they are, and they get it. Like the people that are creating this game, they're definitely those like D&D nerds, and they're gonna put a lot of that um, into this game. I've already seen it. I mean, so
Well, they're passionate gamers more so than business people.
yeah, they're just. I mean, when you're putting $30+ million into making a game because you're sick and tired of other MMO makers, developers, just always crapping on you, and you're always Now, I will say this. I will back up and say not all of them crap on you because Yoshi P in Final Fantasy 14 has never crapped on me. If anything, quite the opposite. Um, right now, it sucks because like by this time we would have already known the new expansion, or at least a teaser. And like I was saying, I miss playing the game, but there's nothing to really play on it, and I don't want to go back yet. Ash just put all the nice things together and bring to one game, but why we had to wait so long for a game like that? It's just it takes the right person that has a lot of money, Steven. uh,
And a hell of a lot of passion.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Denny, that why does it have to take so long? And the thing is I I think and what's cool about Ashes compared to World. I mean, every game has their own thing, and one thing though that WoW has that no other game will ever have, and I remember Asmongold talking about this, was nostalgia, right? And the reason for that is because the game's been out for over 16 years. Um, you remember when you were like in middle school, high school, playing this damn game, and it's still there, and you can still hear the sounds. I mean, I do. Whenever I go to Elwyn Forest, I hear that music, and I'm just like, whoosh, back to the first time I created my paladin, all so long ago. And I think with Ashes, is going to do the same thing, and I hope that it hooks younger people too, because it's all the old people that are craving and wanting that new MMO feeling, you know, that love and feeling, right, Missy? Um,
Well, I haven't lost that love and feeling yet, so.
yeah. Well, no, I mean it's like the whole aspect of the difference between joy and pleasure. You know, when you buy your first car, you'll never get that feeling of your first car again, even if you buy 3 Ferraris. Right, I don't know why you would need 3 Ferraris, but let's say you bought 3 Ferraris, but it still wouldn't feel as good.
Have you seen the different types of Ferraris?
I know, but it was your
I
like first car. Like, there's nothing ever gonna be like like your first car, because it was your first car, right? Those are your like 3/4 car, you know. So I think, for me personally, and Missy, you might attest to this too, is, and I've talked with Missy about this too. I know I'm breaking away from skills here. Is like, we're always wanting that kind of new feeling, that new MMO, to bring, something completely new. Um, even a new expansion doesn't really give you that new feeling anymore. It wipes the slate clean, and then you start off, and everyone's the same, level and gear wise. But a brand new MMO, a brand new game. And this is why I keep telling myself I need to go play console games again, or just single player games, because that would be a brand new game, brand new story, brand new music. Story, music, it's my top 2 right there. And then everything else after that. But I don't know, what about you, Missy? Like, what really,
Well, I think too, like when you were going back to saying, yeah, I think the older people are the ones wanting the nostalgia. Kids coming up now are used to much better technology, so they want something that looks better. They don't want to look at and play the video games that dad was playing, because they're very outdated to them.
I don't know.
So I think that they're used to like better graphics. Like, I mean, this is what they've grown up with, things looking better. So I think that they're driving a need for this, as well as the older players that are like, okay, I've done all this stuff, like bring me something better, the hardcore gamer too. So I think the progression, like there's always going to be people that want to, like, I love WoW, I love Final Fantasy, and I will always play whatever new expansion comes down the pike. Because sometimes it's fun to just go back and play, a game that's easy to play now compared to other ones too. It's like I just want to lose myself and just, do an easy 5-spell or 3-spell rotation or whatever. Sometimes I don't want to really think about something. I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of factors that play into the type of MMO that you want to play on the day.
Denny, I don't know if you read, Missy, what Denny said, but that's actually a huge point that you made, right? WoW's been out for 16 years. Final Fantasy, for example, has been out for 7 years. There's been some other MMOs that have just came out, and they haven't really been that big or that successful, or they've just died off. Because everyone keeps going back to their old faithful, these other MMOs. But you say, yeah, a brand new MMO. Like when you join WoW right now, there's all this game, and everyone knows everything, right? And you feel so small, and I don't know what I'm doing kind of thing. And so brand new MMO, starting off completely fresh, not even just an expansion, but completely new MMO that you can sink your teeth into. I do remember that, because like Rift, you still don't know what you're doing, Chris, right? Like when Rift came out, Rift was completely brand new, and I started playing that game, and there was so much to that game. I actually still like Rift. Like if you really want a lot of customability and massive trees, skill trees, that you choose the different skill trees. Like you can be like an elemental cleric, like mage, and yeah, I definitely get everyone starting out not really knowing what's going on, and the way that this game's designed for the nodes, it's going to be really amazing, just to see how people interact, how the people react to what's going on. I mean, every race is going to affect, I mean, the looks of everything, the cosmetics of things, and you know, the way you choose your skills. You could be hybrid, you could be tab target. Um, it's like this game it almost sounds too good to be true, right? But you know, I think, and I hope, I think a lot of us do, is yeah, give us something new.
It's a new generation of MMO.
Yeah, I mean, from the graphics to everything like that. I think really, 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 truly, we're all hoping, um, yeah. I hope it's has the craziest success, and if it can do what it's promising, I think it will. Now, to finish my conclusion, I know somebody said, see, the thing is, you know, if you try to kill WoW, then you're going to fail. But if you try to do something that's different than WoW, like Final Fantasy did, like Final Fantasy 14 never really competed with WoW directly, and thus it's doing great. So as long as Ashes of Creation, and I've never once heard Steven and them say, oh yeah, this is going to be the WoW killer, like we're going after them, you know, like that fan base. Like I think if they do what they're going to do, like a lot of things might throw, you know, the more and more I hear about this game, you know, sometimes even me and Missy talked about it, is, you know, would she even really be into this game at some points? Like the more and more we're learning about this game, it's kind of like, you know, especially the PvP aspect started to come up, and she was like, you know, it's kind of sounding a little bit too much PvP for me, you know, but PvP just changes things, right? It just makes it a little more fun, not so static, you know. And this game is definitely not going to be static.
It's going to make me a badass biatch.
Right.
Because I'm going to finally have to be one.
Yeah, so I'm excited, Denny. I'm excited. It's going to be cool.
Me too.
But
we got to get back on track here.
Yep.
Back to our skills.
I think you were at Bards Can Choose.
Yep. Bards can choose to activate buffs that augment tanking, evasion, DPS, and healing abilities in their proximity. Some buffs are related to how the Bard performs in combat. If a Bard lands a skill shot against a target, allies within a certain range might be granted a temporary buff that relates to the skill that the Bard used. Let's say the Bard is using a weapon, has a sword out, and does some gladiatorial-looking performance attack, and it looks so great. It inspires his friends around him to increase their multiplier on critical damage, and now they deal additional damage against targets for the next 10 seconds or 8 seconds. So you're going to need to be active. You're going to worry about your position, the relation of the position of your party members to you in order to accentuate really what you have to offer the party.
No, Denny, you're fine to keep asking questions. Don't mind Missy. I can go on tangents. So I'm just passionate about gaming, and I just want this game, like everyone else, to really succeed. But I agree with you. It doesn't need to be a killer of any type of game. It just needs to be what it is and do it well.
Yep. And it'll gather its own fan base, and people will still go back and forth between their other favorite MMOs as well.
Oh yeah. Patch cycles, if they do it correctly, Final Fantasy and WoW, they have a nice little, or used to. When one was dead, the other one was active. When the other one was dead, the other one was active. So if Ashes can kind of get in there too, good. Alright. So Cleric skills, restoration, enhancement, debilitation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Clerics keep their team in the fight by bolstering their combat abilities and cursing their enemies. Far from simply supporting their allies through healing, a cleric is also capable of building destructive force in the face of danger. And I hope, I mean, it sounds like it, that, you know, I mean, I still think you could probably still be the healer's healer, right? Like you could just be straight up heals if that's what you choose. But I hope you can be a good enough, you can heal enough, but also be like mainly DPS. But you could also heal enough to actually be a healer too. So you could really kind of teeter-totter on mid-battle, healer DPS, healer DPS, healer DPS. Like, if they can do that, then I think that'll be awesome. Let's see. Clerics have control over life, and this may relate to utility abilities that relate to corruption. Benediction. And I said we did show the video last week on it, if you guys haven't seen it yet. It's pretty cool. It was their first, hopefully we get another video soon, especially if summer. Let's see, Benediction. It's like a chain heal up to 3 targets. I almost said castration again.
My face, I'm like, how's he going to say this word? That's like, uh-oh.
Well, it even looks like a blade, like a hot blade right there, right? I mean, you know.
Because I think you did it the last time you said castration, and I'm like a little scared. Like.
Yeah, that's funny. So
I'll say it, castigation.
Yeah, castigation. But this is actually a whip. So it's actually like a light whip that you're whipping and doing some damage and stuff like that. Damnation curses your target, dealing holy damage over time, lowering their damage output. Devotion, a swift act that heals your target. It's a quick hot. Divine Censure is you're pretty much throwing a javelin. Exorcism, pretty much like a channeling beam that you're, doing damage. Hallowed Ground fills the surrounding area with radiant energy, damaging enemies, healing allies. That's pretty cool. Judgment. That one, like I said, I wasn't too fond of the animation. It just seemed like a little, almost like Tinkerbell went and like spun around the ad. It's showing a picture of a hammer. I want to see a hammer come out. You know what I mean? Resurrection. I think they can make that. I don't know. Some people say they liked the quick animation of, and then they were up. To me, it'd be cool if. I always kind of liked that when you got rezzed, the body actually floated up and then popped, like light popped out, and they landed on their feet. You know what I mean? The other way kind of just looked like.
That's a little picture.
Yeah, but they were showing in game is they showed the light around the character and then like they just like stood up. Like there was no actually like light picking you up and setting you back on your feet. I hope they adjust that and make it more cooler looking. Oh, Brian.
Steven.
Right. So fighter skills, like I said, one of the archetypes they haven't really came out with stuff. The fighter archetype will include maneuverability and close the gap mechanics to enable the fighter to quickly traverse distances on the battlefield, which is thus rush. What we want the fighter warrior to do is to be able to cut through enemy lines, get to the support area of raid perhaps, and take out healers with some quick DPS burst damage. We want them to be masters of different weapons, want them to be able to be versatile, and whether or not they will be able to be ranged fighter or melee one, it's going to be up to the player.